would like to say this, that I'd like to introduce first your election committee. So if you'd be so kind, ladies and gentlemen, just raise your hand or stand up and turn around so people know who you are that are responsible overseeing the elections. Barbara Daly, Mary Lane, Ann Christopher, Marge Price, Linda Vericon, Jerry Jackson.
Who is the chairperson this year?
Chairperson, do we have a chairperson?
I don't believe there is a chairperson. We're functioning without a chairperson right now.
A committee functions without a
Yes, it
chairperson?
Yes, we can. Well, right now, this is your committee, so please acknowledge them if you would. Mr. Conklin. All right. I don't know if you know Honest Ballot. I want to thank everyone for having Honest Ballot oversee your election again. Honest Ballot has been around since 1909. It was started by Teddy Roosevelt, and he wanted to run and oversee honest and fair elections. So this company is over 100 years old. I've been running and operating this for 28 years. We've never had an overturned election, so I'm very proud to say that we highly are recommended by judges and lawyers for running and seeing elections. So again, I thank all of you for having us oversee your election. We are an impartial company. We do not take sides. That's one of the most important things. I'm here with Karen James, as I said, who will raise a red card to show how many minutes will be remaining to control the stop clock for the candidates. I will explain the procedure for tonight. As you can see, we only have one seat open for director in District 2 for a 3-year term, and we have 3 candidates running for that position. They are randomly picked, and that is the way they will appear on the ballot. I will introduce you candidates, starting with Michael T. Grieco. Grieco, okay. Mr. Carl Kenninger and Nadine Badalati. Thank you. There will be 3 minutes opening statements by each candidate. Again, Carol will raise the red card to show you that you have a remaining of 30 seconds to end your statements, and then we will go again to show you please end. The questions from owners will be addressed to the candidates in the same order as opening statements. Unit owners will identify themselves by their name, their tower, the unit number. Owners will come to the microphone, which is in the middle. And in the event of the next unit owner in line that does not have a question for the next candidate in that rotation, the unit owner will yield and the mic will be given to the next person in line who does have a question for the next candidate, again in rotation. Anyone so yielding that the mic will be given the opportunity to ask his or her question to the next time. The candidate to whom they wish to address their question comes up in rotation. That's what they've been doing for years, and they still continue doing it. Questions are limited to 1 minute in length and should be in the form of a question, not a statement. This is not an annual meeting tonight. This is just to get to know your candidates, what they're going to do, what you want to ask of them. It's a friendly atmosphere, and that's the way it should be. I will pass you if you do not allow the rules. The candidate to whom a particular question is directed will have 3 minutes to respond to the question. After the candidate to whom the question is directed has responded, the candidate may use any of the remaining 3 minutes to respond to any questions that have been previously asked of other candidates or to comment on the response of another candidate to a prior question. It sounds very confusing, but this is really very simple tonight. Each response will be related to a prior question. Closing statements from the candidates will be reversed from that end. And again, they will have 3 minutes. So again, I wish everybody good luck. So what we'll do is open up as right now. So this is Mr. Michael Grieco. We'll start.
Can I ask a question? Who's allowed to attend this meeting?
Anyone.
Anyone that a shareholder here?
Well, we're not shareholders, we're owners.
Oh, yes, I'm
Are
sorry.
employees allowed to attend the meeting?
Employees, I don't know who an employee is.
There's an employee right there, and he should go. This is an owner's meeting. It doesn't matter, it's an owner's meeting.
I mean, this is a candidate's night. I mean, if you have, is there a rule set somewhere that it's not supposed to be? Is it written on the wall somewhere
You
before they
just
come in
told
the
us you
room?
answered with shareholders, we call ourselves
I mean, do you
owners.
see the problem here? We can't ask the question. We wouldn't be able to ask a question.
Well, then
I mean, do
renters,
we want to start this meeting the right way or not?
I'm just going by how it's been run for many years, then let's let renters in here also. This is an owner's meeting. Okay?
Sir, are you an owner?
Only on the.
He's an employee.
All right,
Why can't he be here?
I'm sorry, you're the gentleman you're not an,
Are you speaking to me?
oh, I don't know, I did not know it was you, I'm sorry.
I'm the general manager of the Galaxy Towers. I work for the company.
He be here. Why should he be here? He should hear.
I mean, he's not allowed to ask a question.
It doesn't matter, it's open for owners.
All right, sir, now let's decide, would you be so kind, I hate to say this to you, but would you please leave until this is over? I thank you very much, sir.
I think it's wrong.
All right,
Can you ask everybody to turn off their cell phones?
yes, that's the other thing, please, I would think out of respect that you would turn your phone off, put it on vibrator, if that,
I mean, I'm an
if
employee.
you have a phone, please.
I can leave.
All right. Is everybody happy?
No.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't make everybody happy. All right, let's start with the questions, sir.
Questions or
I mean, I'm sorry, introduce yourself.
opening statement?
Opening statement, you
There we
got
go. Thank you so
it.
much.
Okay.
I want to thank Honest Ballot for sponsoring this night, for everybody to get together, and thank everyone for coming. My name is Michael Kricko. You have to forgive me, I've bronchitis, the flu for the past 6 days, but I felt that it was really important that I'm here tonight. I moved into the Galaxy 4 years ago. I rented over in Tower 1. I come from Hoboken, large family. I had a very successful career in banking. I managed in excess of 120 people in banking, and then from the management end went into the appraisal end of mortgage end of banking, which taught me a lot about real estate. Taking me back up here, I moved into Tower 1, rented for 4 years, 3 years actually, just to try to feel the lay of the land and see if it was necessary for me to move into, take ownership in one of the units. And when I first moved in, the values were actually going down in the Galaxy. And so I was a little bit reluctant to buy it first, but I wanted that view. I wanted that view, and I wanted to live in a place where I can come work out every day and lead a nice, healthy life. Upon moving into Tower 2, I had the place appraised to purchase, and I was amazed that with such a spectacular view that the appraisal actually came in $40,000 less than the price I was paying for the unit. And I was, as an appraiser myself, I was kind of shocked. And I did a little bit more homework, and I saw that the values in the surrounding condominium buildings were significantly higher with a lot less of a maintenance fee. So it was cause for concern, but I had faith that in time the value would go up. So you see, I put a considerable amount of money, like most other people that are in this room, into an investment that I hope one day will turn around. But after living here for 4 years, I'm a little bit dismayed. I look at a mall that has so many vacancies. My understanding now that there's a $12 million lawsuit that the mall has against the Galaxy. I look at the rate of the rent to ownership ratio. Years ago it was at a healthy 30%. It's now risen to approximately 42%. And what winds up happening there is you get a lack of pride in ownership, which causes the values to somewhat go sideways. I look at, improvements that are being made, but at the same time, I question some of them. We have mirrors being removed at a cost of $250,000, and yet we still have popcorn ceilings on in the hallways. There's a lot of concern that I have about the direction that the Galaxy is going in with its present board. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but your time is up. Thank you.
Yes.
We have their cards. You may be too far to see it. Carl.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Carl Kenninger, a candidate for the District 2 seat. I'm a native New Yorker. I'm a certified hydrographer, one who surveys and describes the sea. I have a bachelor's degree in geology, a master's degree in marine affairs. I'm retired from the Navy NOAA as a commissioned officer who had command of 3 ships. For over 30 years, my wife, Pamela Sanabria, and I have called the Galaxy home. I have contributed to improving the quality of life here by serving on various committees and working on numerous Galaxy projects. Over the last 6 years, I've had the pleasure of serving as a homeowners on the GTCA Board of Directors. Just over 3 years ago, I was elected president of the board with a new slate of officers with the goal of turning the Galaxy around in a fiscally conservative manner while improving the quality of life for both the current and future owners. Some of the key fiscal accomplishments have been no special assessments during my years as president, budgeted surplus that have been going on for 3 years in a row. The 2014 surplus was $186,000 returned to the owners in the 2016 maintenance. The 2015 surplus was $133,000 returned to the owners in the 2017 maintenance, and this year's surplus is $136,000 from the unaudited financials. We've had a 14.4% maintenance reduction from the budget from 2013 to 2017. We provide detailed financial releases to the owners and the board consistently on a monthly basis. We've created stability in our accounting department by hiring an outside CPA firm to safeguard the homeowners' funds. We have $6.9 million in reserves for our current and future project without raising the maintenance or applying special assessments. This is an increase of 80% from the 2013 year-end balance. The bad debt owners in arrears has been reduced from a high of over $1 million to below $500,000, and we have reestablished our reputation with vendors by having almost all our accounts payable within 30 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mario, Nadine.
Hello, my name is Nadine Vidality. I invested in a property in the spring of 2003, drawn in by the Galaxy's charm with a mall of restaurants and a movie theater, the convenience of a spa and a garage, and the essence of community. Now the mall is a ghost town, the garage crumbling underneath our feet and not secured, and a community that has been silenced and shut out. The board needs to change policy and turn up the volume on the muted voices of the very people they represent. Our system is broken, and our board president has grown more and more complacent, marked by self-satisfaction while accompanied by unawareness of actual dangers and deficiencies. We have everything to lose by not being involved. The weekly update is not enough information for vested homeowners to grasp where our monies are going, especially when monthly open board meetings are canceled because, and I quote, there is no old or new business to be discussed. Carl, our board president, whose flyer reads like an Aesop's fable, has methodically disenfranchised our right for ownership participation. I'm running to listen to your voices, to turn up the volume and act on the best interest of this association that we pour our income into. I don't take that responsibility lightly. As I speak, there are those who are preparing to deceive us, the spin masters, the negative ad peddlers who embrace the politics of anything goes. I am not a politician. I have no tolerance for corruption. I am not a rich woman. I'm a hard-working graphic designer and art director. I have worked for leading publishing houses in Manhattan with worldwide distribution for 35 plus years. Working on a number of titles at one time involves my working with editors, authors, illustrators, retouchers, co-workers, and egos on a daily basis. And throughout each and every day, I have to have stellar project management skills. My work is meticulous and detail-oriented while working within budgets. My life is guided by education, research, communication, truth, and common sense. Those who know me know that I am honest, and that I will go out of my way in a given situation if someone's rights and best interests are threatened or ignored. Would it be easy for me to turn a blind eye? Certainly. But my mother, who left this life at a very young age many moons ago, instilled in me to leave a place better than I found it. Oh boy. I don't sit up on a high pedestal claiming that everything is better. On the contrary, I'm at eye level with you, holding on to the hope that our property values continue to rise and concerned that much-needed projects to raise those values are thought through and planned coherently for the future of our galaxy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now that you heard from the three candidates, we'll open up questions from the unit owners. Please come to the microphone.
Can I, any of them?
You're going to come up to the microphone and you direct the question.
I want to Carol, please.
Can you speak a little louder?
Okay, my name is Pini Strunza. I'm Tower 3, 28A.
Boards has the right to deny committee memberships, as we know, right?
Excuse me.
When I obviously, okay, membership, but when I asked to be in the SPA committee, you, hold on, I lost it.
Who is your question?
When it's obviously done
Can you fix the
that for
microphone,
political reasons,
A mic-
for any of
Excuse me, wait.
but I am asking him what he
No, I
said.
want to help you. Hold on.
Yes.
Your microphone is too far away from you.
Okay,
I want
I
you
got
to
it.
pull it down.
Sorry.
First question?
I'm sorry.
Who is the question? Excuse me.
Okay.
should be
towards
me.
Yes.
I'm putting, okay,
Start with the first
okay.
candidate.
No, I want this.
No, we're going with the first candidate.
Okay, I-
That's what we
I-
said.
Then I'll wait. I want
Okay,
him.
now you can stand behind her
Now
and
you're
you're
really
the
gonna
next.
have to lower it.
Okay, now you have to.
No,
lower it.
no, it's okay, can you hear me?
No, it should be a little bit lower, please. Thank you. Okay.
No, not that low.
No, but you can raise it up.
Okay, it's okay.
All right, you're gonna now ask the question.
I went for mine.
Okay.
All right. Mike, you said in your flyer you would like to see electric car charging stations in the garage. Considering we live in the past, because we still share and pay for each other's electrical expenditures, this was devised 40 years ago when high-tech wasn't around and people didn't have home offices. Why should we collectively pay for anyone else's car fuel, which will add to the owner's financial burden?
That's a very good question, thank you. Part of my statement was we have to move with the time. There are a lot of people that are renting or purchasing in other high-rises that have electric cars. Electric cars basically are an item of the future. And in order to attract new ownership and keep the values going or start to go upward, we need to implement some changes that take into consideration that fact. Now, as far as making designated spaces for electric cars, there are many ways of going about that. One way easily, let me finish.
But I didn't ask that. I wanted to know, in the day and age of electricity rising and technological offices and high-tech in everyone's apartment, so it's not the way it was years ago when we started, but you said something. It's about submetering. You said something, rather individual electricity. You said a lot of renters. You're going to have a fiduciary responsibility to the condominium ownership here. You don't, this is not a rental building. You have to have
It's become one. It's become one,
but if you
which is
could be-
unfortunate.
But if you could be elected to the board, your head is not to appease renters.
No, it's
Your
not.
fiduciary legal obligation is to the GTCA and the ownership.
Okay.
So the question is about, do you feel this is fair to add to the electrical financial burden of
Okay,
the ownership?
okay, and I'm gonna continue answering that question the same
Well,
way,
you said you
which
did.
I was, if you'd
You
like,
said
please. Yes. It's a good question, it's a very good question.
To answer that.
Okay, well, it's a good
Okay.
question now.
No, it's a
Okay, so what can be done, I mean, just the same way you have ownership and you have renters. You have to have an item where people can charge up their cars.
Right.
And in doing so, because it is the wave of the future, and in doing so, you can charge additional for reserved spaces for cars that are being charged. So it's not coming as a
my question
cost
wasn't
to,
about the garage. My question was about adding a financial burden.
it's passing on a financial burden.
So it would be individually charged. Everyone that came in would pay individually to
They would,
charge.
they would pay, the way it would be set up, it would actually pay to actually implement a charger at each location, and also to pay for the actual electrical usage
Which
at the
would be paid
location.
back for everyone who used it. The installation.
The people that
other costs?
would be parking their cars there, absolutely, they
No,
would
not
pay the
people
cost.
parking their cars, people using that charger.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the
absolutely.
installation would be recovered through the fee.
Absolutely.
You would charge everybody who used that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Yes. What you want to do is you want to make your building move with the times. And right now, these buildings have been living off of a glamorous history from the 70s, and it's not the 70s anymore.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
what I tried
Thank
to
you,
tell
thank you, I appreciate your question.
Your
Yeah,
question now
yes,
is
okay.
for.
The board has a right to deny committee membership when it's obvious done for political reason. You told me, and I quote you, payback. Could you explain what did you mean by that? I caution you, there are people that were in the room and they heard you. So I would like an explanation from you.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't understand what your question is.
You know exactly when I was brought up to the board to be in the SPA committee, in the end of the meeting, in front of Marta Colce, your best friend, and you can ask her, you said payback. And she ran after you, and she said, how about to apologize? And it was another 4 people. How would you want to be on the board without having respect for all owners that read in the Galaxy and tell them payback?
I never, as far as I knew, you were never nominated for a position on the SPA committee. I have no knowledge of what you're talking about.
She had 100% consensus.
Okay.
Lies.
The next question, please.
Would be for Carl and Nadine.
It's going to be for Nadine. Is
Oh, it's
anybody?
gotta be for me.
In order, yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Your name again?
I didn't give it last time.
No, I like your fail.
Gail Hoffman, Tower One.
Okay, thank you, Gail. Your question is to Nadine, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Nadine, do you believe and will you promise to do everything in your power if you are elected to the board to make sure that owners can once again participate in annual homeowner presentations and budget presentations? And do you promise to create forums for interacting with the ownership to hear their complaints as well as their ideas for a better Galaxy, which I think you stated in the flyer?
Absolutely. I think one of the major setbacks in this board presently and in the recent past is that we have no more open homeowner forums. There's no discussion between the board and homeowners, and we're pretty shut out. And it's at a detriment to us because we're not learning what's really going on behind the scenes outside of the weekly updates. And Bagels with the Board, there hasn't been a Bagels with the Board for, I don't know, a year now. And when there is a Bagels with the Board, you're not really
The board.
with
You're not
the
really
board. You're at separate tables and you're lucky maybe if a board member comes to greet you and chat with you about things that might be on your mind, but
Thank you.
yeah.
Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your name is?
My name is Richard Vasquez, and I would like to thank all of you for running.
Richard,
Galaxy
What building are you, what building?
Tower, I'm in Tower 3, 39C, Richard Vasquez. First, I'd like to thank you all for running for the board. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Michael,
Yes.
I'd like a sense of what your assessment is of board leadership performance and how you intend to remedy those things that you find to be a problem.
Well, I think Nadine actually, in her answer, in her response, she was pretty accurate. I feel like the present board, the ownership is totally disenfranchised, totally disenfranchised. You talk about bagels with the board. It's, I mean, in honesty, it's the first I'm hearing of it. You know, my concept of a board is a board that bangs the gavel and silences the ownership. You know, the board is supposed to answer to the ownership. I understand that there are annual meetings here that no one's allowed to speak. This is unheard of. I sat on the city council in Hoboken for 12 years, and part of the thing that I prided myself with was setting up a database that had the residents. I was able to contact them before I voted, and it was a wonderful tool because I didn't have to take so much guff from the residents because I did what they wanted me to do. And I don't find that with this board. I find that a lot of things are done in the dark. And I think there's some form of reason as to why they're done in the dark. And that's, time's up. Thank you. Hope that answered that question for you.
Yes, so your name and you.
Jeff Schlesinger, Tower 2, resident for 26 years. Carl, this is for you. As a resident for 26 years, I believe that you've been for such as you said you're here for 30 years. In the last 2 to 3 years in which you have been on the board, including that of the president, the overall service decline is more than alarming. There is a total indifference and a lack of response to concern via phone, email from management, and yourself when a problem is brought to their attention, such as the following. There is a revolving door like one has never seen the staff leaving every other day, and new individuals are manning the concierge desk. Even after many years now, the present management company is extremely poor training and a complete lack of professionalism. The concierge desk resembles that like a hangout, more than a welcoming command center as it's supposed to be. There's a constantly smelly and dirty elevators. The wall protectors are not removed after moving, delivery hours, on and on and on. There's trash and deliberately consistently all over the lobby floors, floor mats left for
Time
days.
is up, I'm sorry.
I'd like a response to that.
You didn't ask a question.
That is a question, your response to those things.
You didn't ask a question, all you did was make a statement.
What is
I
your
want you-
response?
What is your response to those things?
Wait, excuse me,
It all
maybe
makes sense, but
excuse me. If you wouldn't mind just asking one of those.
What is your rebuttal to all of these issues? That's a question.
I think you're wrong for the most part. I think-
Really?
Really?
Oh, my goodness.
If
All
I
right,
can't
next
speak,
question. Sorry, next question. Go ahead.
This
I mean,
place is a pigsty.
Go ahead. Go
Are we
ahead.
blind
Excuse
here?
me, again, your name, please. I know.
Richard
And
Vasquez.
your question is going to be for
Richard
Nadine.
Vasquez, apartment 39C.
For Nadine.
And look for Nadine.
Yes,
In
go
order to
right
be
ahead.
fair, the same question I asked Mike, which is what's your assessment of the board, what it's done, and what are your plans to address those issues?
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Richard. It's a little alarming to me because I have seen money's been moved out of R&R and not replaced. I've seen the homeowners completely shut out and not informed on a regular basis. I've seen sort of a I want to say favoritism towards the MMA, the Mall Merchants Association. There's something going on there. I think that's a little skeptical. They're in arrears on, and I think there's some favoritism going on there. There's alarming issues that are going on a daily basis. I'm a straight arrow. I'm a true believer in honesty and keeping things above board and keeping people informed and looking out for the best interests of my home and my neighbors. And I think this board has a lot to explain for themselves. I really don't know what else to say. I don't feel safe.
Thank you.
No offense to Michael, I don't want to ask another question right now. Can I ask a question to Carl? If no one else is going to ask one to
If
Michael?
somebody else wants to, and somebody want to ask Michael a question?
Yes. I'd like to-
Please, sir, you can come up to the mic.
Can you raise this for me? Hello, can you hear me?
And then just give your name and your,
Thank you, thank you. My name is Sir Gettleson. I am an owner in Tower 1. Michael, this question is directed to you, if you don't mind. First of all, congratulations on your desire to run for the board. I appreciate any candidate that's willing to, as a volunteer, do this for the Galaxy. That holds true for all the candidates, past and present.
Thank you.
Could you clarify for me, please, in the flyer that was distributed to the residents, you talk about viable restaurants and businesses in the mall. How will you, as a board member, attract viable businesses and restaurants to come into the mall?
Well, that's a very good question. I appreciate that question. There are many tools that we have available to us. We have a Chamber of Commerce. We have a website that, my understanding, that website really hasn't been very active in recent time. And you know, social media, so much can be done with social media. I mean, we have businesses that people aren't even aware. I know people that live in Hudson County that aren't even aware that there's a mall here. So with proper marketing, you know, with an initiative on the part of the Galaxy itself, we can actually, not only can we go and help assist getting tenants in there, but we can, you know, to some degree, you can almost actually handpick, you know, what you're looking for with ownership. With ownership, when you have a good dialogue. My understanding is that there's not a good dialogue, and that's something that I think needs to be worked on.
Could I comment on that?
Sure.
Inform the question?
Another question?
Can I do that?
There's no.
Follow up?
no, you'll have to go
We
back.
can talk afterwards. I'd be more than happy to talk further with you about
Yeah.
that.
Thanks, Mike.
That's good stuff. Thank you.
Can I ask some questions? Excuse me, can I ask some questions? Because I haven't been up to the mic yet.
No,
To Mike? No, for Carl.
No, to Mike. I mean,
It's Carl's turn. I'm asking.
excuse me,
I'm asking a question. She's already asked a question. May I ask a question to Carl, to the next for Carl? No, I got it up and then you jump.
you know what? No, please, do me a favor.
Well, don't you think it's fair that somebody who hasn't had a...
No, you should have gone up when you were supposed to. So please ask your question to Carl, okay?
Carl, in your flyer, you have claimed that there have been no special assessments during your years as president. In 2013 and 2014, I think it's late 2013, your board transferred $1,100,000 from our R&R account. That's repair and restoration, hallways, lobbies, and capital projects for those that don't know. You transferred that $1,100,000 to the operating account to pay bills that could have waited. I saw them, they weren't severely overdue. To date, you have not given back that $1,100,000 to the owner's R&R account. Piggyback. You made it look like an accomplishment when it wasn't. You gave money to owners from R&R in the 214 that you just said.
What is
you
the
gave.
question that you want to ask,
Oh, I'm
please?
practicing it.
No,
He made a
you
statement.
only have 2 minutes to do this.
I understand, so let me speak. You said you gave back money surplus in 214 and 215. Sure you did. That was the $1 million, part of the $1,100,000 that you took from the owner's R&R account. So naturally, you didn't ask for additional assessments from us, and you had the money in the operating account to return it. When are you going to pay back the $1,100,000 to the R&R account if you can? Commingling of condo accounts is frowned upon by good accounting practices. Do you disagree with that? And when are you going to pay back the money?
Excuse me.
The budget, as I recall, was restated in 2013. This was a restatement of the budget. The budget has since been audited and
This was
approved.
after the budget of 2017.
No, the budget is audited every year. The budget is audited, this is perfectly okay with any accounting practice, any firm could look at.
Commingling is frowned upon.
Am I speaking or are you? Am I speaking or are you speaking, Gail? I'm answering your
Let
question.
him answer the question.
I'm answering the question. You're wrong.
On what?
Thank you. I know you have your opinion, but we just restated the budget.
Numbers don't need opinions, they're facts. You took the money, you can restate what you want, and you put it in operating, that was a mistake, I get that. But you took $1,100,000 out of R&R, earmarked for infrastructure projects and other capital improvements that we were in dire need of. Why did you do it? You made operating look better than it was, and you said,
You're
"Bad, I have a
wrong. You
surplus."
don't understand. what
I
happened.
understand more about the money than you do.
This should be really worked at
Thank
an
you, Gail.
annual meeting, not at the candidates night. I'm
I
sorry.
agree with you, we're not allowed to talk.
We're
at
not allowed to
meetings.
speak at our annual meetings.
And our last meeting was
Well,
I'm sorry, you were allowed to talk at the annual meeting, but there was no annual meeting for the last 2 years because there was no quorum. After each of the annual meetings, we had open sessions for about an hour where you could ask any question you wanted to the general manager or anyone else.
okay.
keep online.
All right. Please come to the mic and respect one another. And you want to ask the question? Do you want to
My question is.
I have a
directed
question for
to
Nick.
all.
come right up? Please have respect for one another at this meeting, please. Like I said, I don't know about your annual meeting, but this is not an annual meeting. This is a candidates' night, and you're supposed to be respectful to one another. Otherwise, I'll just close down.
They're not respectful to the ownership.
I'm sorry about that, I really am. Please, ask your question.
Hi, Nadine. Nadine, in your flyer, you talked about garage automation, and you also talked about metering. Everybody in the room will have an opinion on that.
Yeah.
There is definitely benefits in pursuing something like that.
Yeah.
But may I ask you to specifically respond to this following question? In reviewing the financials of the Galaxy, how do you expect to pay for something like that without a special assessment?
This would be something that would have to be discussed by the board and unit owners. This is an idea. Now, are we talking about garage automation or sub-metering? Because,
Excuse me for interrupting,
please
but
do.
you put in your flyer that you wanted to introduce that. So you must have reviewed the financials, and you must have reviewed some of the costs associated with doing that. So how do you intend to do that without a special assessment?
I think that would be open for discussion, as I said. Sub-metering is easy because no major writing is requested. Electrical device is installed in an electrical box in your apartment and it reads pulses and transmits readings by radio signals. Apartment readings are web-based and also sent to the GTCA office and included in monthly bill. Common element electricity remains the same as based on square footage. 2017 budget calls for 2.4 mil total electricity cost. Apartment portion would be around 1.4 mil or 60%. So we could save 20% of that, about $288,000 per year. 7 years ago, it was about $600 per electrical distribution box, or $700,000 in total. Department of Energy stats, sub-metering is saving at least 21%. Payback for the homeowners is about 3 years. Some will benefit more. 40% of renters would have to pay for what they use in past years. Even our energy pass-through brought consumption down. So this would have to be a discussion.
Thank you.
Do you want me to go over garage automation as well?
Can I comment?
No. Question? Yes, your turn.
I would like to direct my question to Carl. So it's not.
Not your turn. Your turn. To who?
Okay. Well, my question is for Carl, but,
I have a question for Mike.
I'm sorry?
I have a question for Mike.
There you go.
I
Go right up again.
I defer.
All right, come on up. Sorry I have to keep raising and lowering the mic.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
Some of the actions in the meeting like this is making me shorter. Hi, Mike, how are you?
Hi.
Good. Mike, my question is, why is it that you are not aware of something called Bagels with the Board? Those were your words. It was advertised with flyers, it was advertised in the weekly update, and it was announced to all the residents. If you're not aware of something like that, that says to me you may not be reading the weekly update, you may not be looking at the flyers, you may not be on the list to receive announcements, and therefore you may not be interested in what's happening at the Galaxy.
Well, that's a very broad assumption, but I appreciate the question. What I'm not aware of is something that does not happen. There are no bagels with the board. Okay, so the point of the statement is that it doesn't exist. So how can I be aware of it? You know, if you want to communicate with the residents, I read the flyers, and I am aware, you know, of the bagels on the Hudson, quote unquote, but it's non-existent. I guess that's my point. There are a lot of things here that are non-existent, and this board operates in a vacuum, and they operate in a vacuum for a reason. The turnover rate here is incredible. The cost of management here is one of the highest of any development on the Hudson River. It's disgusting. It needs to be changed. It needs to be cleaned up. So, bagels on the Hudson, yeah, you gotta wonder about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Your name and your...
Elena Center, Tower 2. Carl, I think we all believe in the statement that a leopard...
Excuse me, please.
Let me start again, please.
And your question?
Carl, I think we all believe in the statement that a leopard doesn't change its spots. You've been president for quite a few years. While you were president, when First Service Residential came to the Galaxy, the first general manager they gave us was a convicted criminal.
Excuse me.
I'm leading up to my question.
Is this going to be a question or a statement?
I'm leading up to my question. Stop the time, please. Okay? I'm leading up to my question. Within 2 months of her becoming our general manager, you were given court documents from Niagara Falls about the fact that she was a convicted criminal. You allowed a facilities manager to work here who is being indicted. You have a current manager who anybody can Google the general manager's name. He had 2 lawsuits against him while he was working in his previous job. Problem with female employees, evidently. The esprit de corps here amongst the employees and the owners is so low because you allow these sort of people to work here. Tell us what you're going to do as you continue on the board, if re-elected, in terms of bringing quality people in who understand how to treat the owners properly and the employees. I asked you a question. Tell us how you're going to handle this so that we get quality employees working here.
We want to know. Excellent question.
And now you wonder why I asked for a place to leave.
I think first of all, you refer to a general manager who is, First Service has been here for 3 years. The first general manager they brought to us was Judy Mara. Judy Mara was here for 2 months. Immediately when we found out the accusations against her, she was suspended from the building. She was brought back on a temporary basis. She was replaced by First Services with the current general manager who's been 2.5 years.
6 months later.
6 months. Let him
It was not 6 months later.
Yes, it was. It was November.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry
Is this a
also.
dialogue?
Please let him finish.
I'd like him to tell the truth for a change.
But you know what? You asked him a question, let him answer it, all right? Have to respect it that way, please.
But I don't get a chance to respond to his lies.
You can't, go ahead, all right? Otherwise, I'm gonna go to the next question. Do you want an answer, yes or no?
We want an answer.
Okay, then let him answer,
Not the
please.
truth.
Whether it's the truth or not, let the gentleman answer. Go right ahead, please, Cole. Can you answer it? Please answer it.
I could only answer that I think the general manager here has improved considerably. You can go through all your criticisms you want. You've criticized every person and every general manager that's been here since I've known you, so nothing has changed. I think I'd like to just talk about another issue at the time I allow the metering, the sub-metering of the apartment. This has been under discussion since 2008 by the board.
That's not part of the question, that's the question.
I can discuss anything I want with my mayor in marine
It's
time.
not.
Talk about management.
I can use 3 minutes of time.
All right, next question.
My question is not for Nadine.
All right, for Nadine, does anybody have a question for Nadine? Because she's next online to be asked.
Anybody?
Right.
No. You're gonna have to stop doing these, I'm very complex.
All right, this is for Nadine, and the next
You'll
one
have
will
to
be for
find
Mike.
more.
Right, you're for Mike. After her.
Here's one from my heart. Are you for, and do you intend to make sure if you are on the board, that we hire a different and better landscape company? Because the mini park has looked bleak and awful for 2 to 3 years. All green, no flowers, the grass was not watered timely or taken care of this past summer. All my time in the mini park has been on dirt and crabgrass.
It's not up to me to decide. That would, and I agree with you on the condition of the mini park, but that would be a board discussion and we would.
But do you agree
I
that
do
the
agree.
past 2 years, this
Yeah, I know.
landscape has been terrible, and will you work best you can to make sure we have flowers and spend our money wisely?
I would definitely work to open up the discussion and, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Michael, anybody have a question for Michael? You have, sir? Yes, go right in. This is for Michael.
Michael, I just have a question. Would you agree, under the present board's tutelage, that the overall condition of the Galaxy is fine?
No.
The way it looks, the cleanliness,
No.
and everything else?
No.
It's pretty disgusting, isn't it?
I don't know if I'd characterize it as being pretty disgusting. I think
Does it look like a top-notch luxury condominium?
well, at one point in time, my understanding is that the Galaxy was one of the top 10 condo units in the United States.
Something that is so
In the United
basic,
States.
something that is so
It
basic.
has taken on an institutional look.
Correct.
It does not have the lushness that the Galaxy, I remember after it was built back in the 70s.
So the landscape.
Well, it's a little bit, the landscaping, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The landscaping, in the past 3 years, I mean, when I first moved here, the landscaping was pretty good. And they changed, I was amazed at how often they changed the flowers, and every season they had coverage. That has gone so far downhill, it's amazing. My understanding that there's a committee that discusses this, but you know, it's just like, the past 2 to 3 years have been atrocious. The hallways, you come into the garage, I mean, I've had rocks hit my car, fall off the garage. You open up a door that needs to be painted, you go into a hallway that's disgusting. Yeah, parts of it, you're right, and then you have me thinking a little bit. Parts of it are pretty gross.
Thank you. Next, okay, question for, go ahead.
Richard Vasquez, 39C. My question is for Carl.
Talk louder.
Carl, I was going to ask you a business question, but after seeing what's going on here, I'm going to ask you a question from my heart. The divisions in the galaxy are painful for all of us. I've never seen anything like this. I'm in business. I've never seen anything like this. And I'm 64. I've been in a lot of business. You're the president of the board. You're the leader of the board and the leader of the galaxy. What do you intend to do if you continue in a leadership role to bring an end to this division and to empower the ownership?
I'm surprised that you think, if you look back in our history of recalls, or you look back on the board against board lawsuit that cost us $500,000, if we look before the recall of 4 members of the board, or you look in all the divisions in the last 10 years, that you think things are more decisive and more diversive now than they have been.
Erroneously recalled.
Please, it's my question. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I think all one can do is strive to do their best and run a decent board. I think I've been doing that. If you disagree, that's your privilege.
The question is, would you grant that there's divisiveness in the galaxy now? Would you agree that there are people pitted against each other and we're all neighbors and we should all work together? That being said, do you recognize this as a problem, or do you just think that's the...
I recognize that this small element of very few dedicated people who, in the time I've been here, have brought lawsuits against us, have sued us, have involved us in all kinds of difficult problems. But that's only a very small percentage, maybe 2 to 3%. Most of the people here are very decent and hardworking.
So you're saying everything is fine?
I'm not saying everything is fine.
Absent the outlier, which is the individuals who do you feel that the galaxy is united now, other than a couple of people?
I think for the most part, the galaxy is united and making a lot of progress.
Okay, so can you answer the second part of the question?
You already
What will you
answered
do? He didn't answer the question, which was, how does he intend to bring people together and empower the ownership? That was the question. So.
I think it's a very good question. I think one can say, if you don't think things are getting better, and you don't think I've done a good job, vote somebody else in. That's what a democracy is all about, and that's what this is all about. If you don't like what I'm doing, I'm not welded to this job, vote. We have 2 other candidates here, and you can certainly vote, the board can certainly vote.
I'm not asking you, I'm asking you,
I know
what would you do to empower the ownership, to bring us together? That's all I'm asking. I'm not, you're evading the question. Thank you.
already mentioned it.
Hi, Nadine. I have an issue for 2 years, and I spoke to anybody on the moon. I have
What's the question?
reserved, I am going there.
Okay.
I have reserved parking, and I pay $160 a month, and it's so dirty, and it's black. The floor, honestly, is black. For 2 years, I paid, I took people, I showed them, nothing happened. I hope that you get elected and you'll do something about it. What do you think? It is really unthinkable to pay $160. It's black, honestly.
I have a reserved parking spot and I'm not even in it because there's work. I haven't been in it for over a month. Do you need black with oil?
It's on 15th floor and it's not working there at all. And please,
do you mean black with oil or?
No, it's not oil, it's black from work and
Oh, for
I
the
don't know, but
construction.
it's black. The whole thing.
From the construction, you should get in touch or.
I did, but they don't do for 2 years nothing.
Well, all right, well, we'll make sure that's taken care of.
Somebody who's actually on the board right now to do that. What?
Pipes.
Hello? Okay, your name?
Judy Fryer, Tower 338.
Go ahead.
This is for Michael. You mentioned things that you would do to get the mall going. I just want to know what you would do to get people to come in, if it is indeed true that there's a $12 million lawsuit, kind of can't get people to come in and get involved in a situation like that. So what would you do?
Well, it requires sitting down and having conversation with people that own the units there. You know, they're not making money if the place is not being properly maintained, if the place is not deemed to be attractive, or if the Galaxy itself is not doing a good job of campaigning to attract people to come. You know, a community.
What do you do about the $12 million lawsuit?
Well, I'm not privy yet to what that was. I'm not on the board yet. The board is more aware about what the problem is with that lawsuit. That's something, as I said earlier, as a resident, I feel like I've been kept in the dark by what the board actually does. And I think that information, I know so many people are not even aware that there is a lawsuit that's in the works of the magnitude. I don't think the Galaxy's ever had a $12 million lawsuit. So that's something that we need more information about, and I think it's imperative that the present board informs us of what actually is involved with that $12 million lawsuit. It's a very good question, thank you.
You know who I am? Okay. Carl, 2 years ago, the mall owed us approximately $200,000, could have been a little bit more, in parking arrears. The January or the current accounting financial statement that would have been read at the board meeting that you canceled, but I have a copy of it, says that the mall is currently $278,877 in arrears in addition to over $1 million in bankruptcy. What have you done over the last 2 years to collect the $200,000 they owed us 2 years ago and to keep them current with the parking charges of $7,500 a month? Because clearly they stopped being current and paying down their debt because they owe us $278,000. Why didn't you attend to this so more debt so that the debt couldn't build up? We can't play favorites and help them all. There are individuals that need help, and we
All right, you're making it into a long.
What did you work out with them over the past 2 years? Because it looks like you did nothing but just plain old failed your job.
In the first place, the financial statements are posted up on Cooper Square Connect. You did, I'm glad you found that out and got them.
It's not on Connect.
I got it from the office because I asked for it.
Well, you could have gone on Cooper Square
Wasn't
Connect.
posted.
I'm sorry, I want to answer the question. I don't have a dialogue with you. Yes, the mall, for many years now, has only been paying half their parking charges. There are arrears for that. The board, not me, but the board decided not to press this, especially since we were engaged with a lawsuit, but more important, many of the stores are closing up to insist they pay the additional parking for something that the board decided
But I
not
asked
to
a
press.
question about 2 years ago going forward, not about stores closed now.
I'm talking about 2 years ago.
They weren't closed 2 years ago. And you knew there was a lawsuit, so you just figured, what the hell?
Thank you, Gail.
But you allowed them to vote in that
I'm
way.
glad you're answering my question
Excuse
for
me.
me.
You don't seem to understand the concept and the numbers involved, Carl. And the last question I asked you about the $1,100,000, you clearly lied to me. I read the restatement in 2013, so I knew you wouldn't have an answer now.
Why don't you control decision? This is not a question. This is an action. Talk with their candidates. You don't allow somebody else to have an interaction.
You know what, I'm gonna do closing statements now. Okay, that's good. All right, let's have closing statements. Nadine, you're gonna start with the closing
When we
statement.
do meetings for us, they are entitled to all those things.
These things should be handled, like I said, unfortunately, at annual meetings, not at candidates' night. Go ahead, Nadine.
Well, we're not allowed to have annual
Well,
meetings.
Go ahead, Nadine.
You're ready, I'll
Oh, excuse me, let them finish, please. Thank you.
I walk through these grounds on a daily basis, with or without my 2 rescue dogs, witnessing unprofessionalism, poor judgment, and a disrespect to us as homeowners. Frustrating, to say the least. Driveway. Yes, the drainage in the driveway has been implemented, but the level of the depression in the driveway is not high enough for water to reach those drains, and ultimately, in the words of Robert Redford, a river runs through it. And we haven't gotten word on the next step in the process. Hallways redecorating. Yes, the hallways are underway, but we're delayed for about 2 years. The completion of the hallway redecorating project is not on time. It was supposed to start a year early with the gray motif, no mirrors and no popcorn ceilings as voted on by owners. Homeowners spoke, 49% gray, 42% brown. But because of poor leadership and infighting, the project was delayed. Some things omitted, some things changed. Regardless of what we did or didn't get, we were just happy for clean, fresh surroundings and a boost in our property values. Infrastructure. We need to forge forward with fiscally sound plans that are thought through to repair our infrastructure and rebuild the value of the galaxy. Window replacement. We're throwing away our money when heat and air conditioning escapes through old fitting windows. Security is compromised. Keys from key tracks go missing between towers. Garage doors are unlocked on a 24/7 basis. People walk right past the concierge desk unannounced. People walk in through the 8th floor garage. Management. If we have concerns, we rarely get a return phone call back. We know no logistics about projects that are underway unless we ask, and in many cases, management and board members don't know themselves. Management must advise housekeeping and maintenance to be more conscientious that they don't damage our new wallpaper and carpeting. Housekeeping. On a daily basis, housekeeping managers must actively oversee the grounds and our floors that are left in disarray. We have a new housekeeping manager, so keep your fingers crossed because we go through a lot of them. Transparency. There has been no communication between board members and homeowners for a very long time. We need our open homeowner forums where we are allowed to question, raise concerns, and interact with board members. My name is Nadine Badality. Thank you for coming and thank you for your support.
First, I'd like to thank the election committee for their efforts, and I'd like to thank our moderator for putting up with us. The R&R project accomplishments, the hallway redecoration project is underway. We've been talking about that for 11 years. The new boiler project has been contracted out, and the work should cut off begin in the spring of this year. The Tower 2 roof has been replaced after 10 years of talking. We've renewed the spa atrium by repainting the roof and replacing the glass. We've replaced the major air conditioning systems on the lower floors. We've repaired the drainage system in the driveway. The driveway reconstruction is nearing completion of phase 1 and 2. But you have to ask what's next. We have to continue focusing on the bad debt, the owner arrears. We have to complete the hallway project on time and on budget. We have to continue to provide forums to solicitate homeowners' ideas and feedback for improvements. This is done, I think, in the last year. There have been 3 bagels on the board. We have another I committee that's open to everybody to help us monitor it. We've had open meetings. I can remember the Appleview open meeting. We have the annual budget meeting and audit meeting, which is an open meeting where people discuss. For the first time, we conducted a survey of the homeowners and discussed the survey meetings at an open meeting for the redecorating project. We allow comments on all the PRs that go out. Yes, communications are important, and I believe there are a lot of them for the people who listen. We have to keep improving the front-end services, the housekeeping and the concierge and security. I harken back to the day when we had our own housekeeping and our own cleaning staff and our own security. Perhaps we would have been better off if we kept them. We have to continue to improve the energy efficiency, the LED lighting in the garage and the hallways. We have to upgrade the sewer lift station.
30 seconds left.
Fine. We have to prioritize needed infrastructure improvements with a 10-year and a 30-year plan at least. There's much work to be done in the Galaxy. We can restore the Galaxy to one of the best 10 condominiums in the United States. I think it's much better here. If you feel it is much better, you can continue the change by voting for me. Call Kenninger Tower 2. Thank you.
We need fresh blood.
Vote for the ostrich.
Fresh blood.
Excuse me, please. Go ahead, Michael.
Yes. Thank you again for Honest Ballot, for having an interesting night here, and for all the people that came out to attend. In recapping what I've heard tonight from the residents, is that there's a major problem here with management and with communications from the board. The management issue, it's difficult to run a project of this size without a plan. And when you have two companies working on repairing a driveway, you have to kind of wonder after a while which company is doing the damage and which company is doing the repair, or whose turn is it to do the damage and to do the repair. Because at the end of the day, when you have two different companies attempting to fix one problem, the longer that they're here, the more it's going to cost us, everybody in the room. Same to be said about the garage. We've had a couple of companies repairing, correcting the deficits that are in the garage. So the management, what I'm hearing from a lot of people, management is a serious problem. And leadership comes from the board. The board has to hire proper management to oversee jobs. And it also requires a little bit more involvement of the board in communicating with what's expected and setting up a plan and tasks to be accomplished and be accomplished on time. I'm here to bring professionalism back to the Galaxy. I have a banking background. We basically need a strategic plan with measurable results. We have to have performance measurement for management. We need a board that's accountable to the owners. We can't have a board that's living in the dark. That has to stop. The single most important challenge of the Galaxy is to increase the values. And rentals are a concern. People don't want to live here as much as what they have in the past. We're down to 30% ownership living at the Galaxy. 30% less. I mean, so those are numbers that you really have to look at and you have to question why. And I'm here to make that change. Michael Kricko, 40E. We need to talk. My number is 201-615-1442. Call me, let me know what your ideas are. I appreciate it.
Everyone deserves a hand. Please give them all a hand. Everyone votes, and if someone that did not get a ballot, please notify Honest Ballot so we can send out a duplicate for them. So please, again, please vote. And I thank you very much for being here tonight, because you are the ones that are really concerned, and I thank you for that. Bye. Thank you.